Coming up, the Mandalorian and Grogu are headed to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind opens at EPCOT, and the virtual queue fills exactly as fast as I told you it would, and we hear from Disney on how Imagineers had a non-IP Big Bang coaster concept in mind for EPCOT, which eventually evolved into the Guardians of the Galaxy IP ride that just opened. All that and more on the way. This is Mickey Views News.
All who come to this happy place, welcome.
Now I'm the king of the swingers.
That's what EPCOT is, an experimental prototype community that will always be in a state of becoming.
First up in the news today, something I am super psyched about. It's not well known that I am a Star Wars fan, because when I usually talk about Star Wars here on this channel, it's in regards to Galaxy's Edge, of course. And Galaxy's Edge, to me, is not the best. There's a lot of problems with it. I like Rise of the Resistance. It's a great attraction. The lightsaber building is cool as a one-time thing. The droid building as well. The Ronto wrap is quite good. Beyond that, I don't really enjoy being in the land, taking in the atmosphere like I do most of Walt Disney World. It's one of my favorite things about theme parks. It's really what sets them apart. Something I very much like about Pandora, for instance, which I think is one of the best land expansions Disney's ever done. There's nothing kinetic going on with Galaxy's Edge. It feels kind of dead. The land lacks the music that adds a lot of charm to the land it's competing against most directly, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, of course. They opted to go with this new never-before-seen location instead of theming it around a recognizable location from the films, which I think is misguided given how iconic specific locations in Star Wars are. It's such a core part of what makes this franchise in particular so recognizable. Originally, it's always been said that the plan for the land was to base it around Tatooine, and that ended up not happening. And on top of all of this, Galaxy's Edge is set during the sequel timeline, which robs us of being able to see most of the characters and things we like in the Star Wars universe, where instead those characters are relegated to Star Wars Launch Bay, if at all. That last problem with the land that I mentioned, but two sticking to the sequel timeline, looks like it may no longer be an area of concern, as at the Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim on Friday, the visionary behind Galaxy's Edge, Scott Trowbridge, announced a big change.
And one of the things that we always wanted from the very beginning, Star Wars Galaxy's Edge to be, was a place that would grow alongside the Star Wars storytelling. We all know that there are some characters whose experiences we're seeing there today. And even though we may have heard or read or seen on screen some of the other stories through the past 1,000 years that Black Spire Outpost has been there, we may have read about those stories. Now, for the first time, we're going to be able to get little glimpses of those stories as they happen inside Batuu and on Black Spire Outpost, starting tomorrow. Yeah, so you're hearing it first. Literally starting tomorrow, Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, you might find a little bit of an untold part of their story. Rumor has it there are other nefarious characters who have made their way through their journey. Their story has taken them at some point in time to Black Spire Outpost, and later this year we'll meet some of them there as well.
So it is finally official. We've had this rumor for years and years. The Mandalorian and Grogu are coming to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. Also Boba Fett, as well as Fennec Shand, a character featured in the Mandalorian and Boba Fett shows on Disney Plus, have already made their debut at Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge, and then Mandalorian and Grogu will be coming later this year. Here you can see some footage of Boba Fett and Fennec Shand roaming around the Black Spire Outpost. Now, there's already a lot of concern, a lot of people talking online, because in the Disney Parks blog post, which came out immediately after this announcement at the Star Wars Celebration panel, it specifies that Mandalorian and Grogu are coming to Disneyland's Galaxy's Edge. There is nothing said about these characters coming to Walt Disney World Galaxy's Edge, either at the panel or in the blog post, which is a notable thing that is being excluded here. What is going on with Walt Disney World's Galaxy's Edge? We're getting these characters, right? People are theorizing it could be due to the story you have unfolding with the Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, where it wouldn't make sense in the timeline for these characters to appear to those guests when they do their excursion to Batuu, something along those lines. Or a more practical explanation in my mind is the fact that Disneyland, they put a lot of resources into live entertainment that Walt Disney World doesn't, and also Disneyland is directly across the street from the Anaheim Convention Center, where the Star Wars convention is taking place, with all the convention guests in the park that weekend. Hopefully we'll be seeing Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, the Mandalorian, Grogu, all of them come to Galaxy's Edge here at Walt Disney World as well. I don't see why they wouldn't. If I had to guess, I think it'll be a later announcement and a later debut than we're seeing with these characters out in Disneyland, where these characters are already starting to show up. So we'll keep you updated on that. I think it's great news that we're seeing Batuu become a bit more fluid timeline-wise here, where Scott Trowbridge is saying you might have different characters from different eras roaming the land, and those specific characters will not interact directly with each other, but you will be able to spot characters from these different eras around the land while you're there. Anything that gives Batuu some more life, some more relevance, ties it in with future Star Wars movies and Disney Plus shows sounds great to me. My question is if the Mandalorian and Grogu will be roaming the land like Boba Fett and Fennec Shand, because so many people want to interact with those characters specifically and take photos with the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda. It seems that that could create some operational and crowd flow difficulties if they were just roaming around and there's sort of like a mob around them. So instead, I'm wondering if Disney's going to create something more structured where there's a queued meet and greet type of thing for Mandalorian and Grogu, because there's definitely going to be a lot of people who want to meet those characters. Whatever the case may be there, an exciting day for parks and Star Wars fans alike. Next up, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind opened on Friday in EPCOT. It was a very hot day here in Central Florida. You had this 1 second window to get a virtual queue. There's no standby line, so I made the call early on. I'm not going to this opening. What's the point? I love covering the opening days of these attractions, but usually there's something to cover, right? There's a crowd that's all waiting to ride the new ride. There's a lot of excitement. Here, everyone's just roaming around, looking down at their phones, waiting for their queue group to be called, which really does suck a lot of the fun out of these opening days. So the way it went down is right before opening day, Disney unveiled the price for the attraction's Lightning Lane. At Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, the two ways to ride the ride. A, you can either try to get a virtual queue in the virtual queue section of the My Disney Experience app, refreshing at 6:59, and then as soon as it hits 7, you hit that button. Or the other thing you can do is purchase a Lightning Lane at the same time. The virtual queue filled up in 1 second as expected, and the Lightning Lanes also went very quickly as well. The individual Lightning Lane price for Cosmic Rewind is currently $17 per person, and I don't think that's a terrible deal for such a new attraction that's very hard to get into. I think that is something that could be worth paying money for, but there is a downside to paying for Lightning Lane at Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is you take a separate line to the pre-show, which robs you of seeing the entire queue at this attraction. And the thing with the queue at Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is it's not very large, and a better way to think about it is it's sort of a walk-through attraction all on its own. It's really part of the attraction itself, the queue for the specific attraction. So I'd highly recommend you go for the virtual queue if you can, because that way you'll be able to see everything you have in the queue with the Wonders of Xandar exhibits before you get to the pre-show. Otherwise, you're going to be skipping basically half of the enjoyment of the attraction. You're really just going to be there for the coaster. Reactions from normal guests on opening day range from "this attraction is awesome and super fun" to "this attraction was brutal." You know, several people were saying that accidents were happening while they were riding the ride. To that end, additional trash cans have been added to where you get off the attraction, where you unload, and cast members are standing by with motion sickness bags for those who need them. I'll tell you guys, this ride can be pretty extreme for some. If you're just used to, you know, Disney coasters, stuff like that, this could be a little bit more on the extreme end for you. It's a little hard to pinpoint who exactly is going to have a problem with this attraction before they try it out for themselves, because I've ridden this attraction with young families where the kids had a great time, had no problem with it. Of the 4 times I've rode this attraction, the only time I felt sick was the time that I downed a bottle of water right before getting on the ride. It is a high G-force, thrilling coaster that is also rotating, and you're in the dark. Chances are you're going to enjoy this Omni Coaster ride experience Imagineering has invented. I sure did, but there is most certainly a chance that you might need one of those bags on the way out. So just in case, it's good to know that those are there. Keep that in mind for sure. Last up in the news today, also on the topic of this new attraction, corresponding with the opening of Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind in EPCOT, D23 dropped a podcast featuring an Imagineer talking about the project, giving us an inside scoop. And there we discovered this rotating Omni Coaster ride system idea and a non-IP Big Bang attraction idea predated the insertion of Guardians of the Galaxy IP by the executives. Take a listen to this.
We had the idea for what we didn't even call it the Omni Coaster then, but a coaster that we could turn and rotate you into the show. So that idea, along with an idea for a coaster that was about the Big Bang, the singularity, and kind of going through the cosmos. Those were two ideas that were out there. And then we got the assignment and thought of how do we put Guardians of the Galaxy here at EPCOT. And so we kind of mashed all those ideas up together. And as you well know, no idea ever really dies around here at Disney. So that
it just
became
evolves.
another example. It just evolves.
So everybody, there you have it. I told you guys the other day in our on-location Epcot overhaul video, I believe this Moana project that we're seeing so much progress on right now in the middle of Epcot, this Journey of Water walkthrough attraction idea for Epcot predates the insertion of the Moana theme, which is what earned it the funds and really got it over the goal line. It looks like the same might also be true of what we got here with Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, which is not shocking, it's not surprising, and it's a shame because this attraction would be better without IP in my opinion, but we live in the real world and we know that people know these IPs, so if you slap a recognizable name on these rides, you will get more bang for your buck when you open the attraction, which is going to attract more people. Disney just opened a Big Bang coaster, or Disney just opened a Guardians of the Galaxy coaster, where they can put the Marvel name on it. Whatever we may say or think about what Disney should do or what the executives are doing wrong, there is a thought process there. There is a logical thought process going on behind that decision to put intellectual property on top of all of these new Imagineering projects. Right or wrong, I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to subscribe with those notifications on so you can stay up to date on all the latest Disney news. Thank you so much for watching. From the Mickey Mouse Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.